Hello, Dr. Jim Palermo, your instructor in MELS 603 with Module 2, Week 2 overview and expectations. Uh, Most of this stuff is included in the announcement that accompanies the URL for this video. But I wanted to show you again in Blackboard where you can access the information, what the expectations are. I want to cover something this week about the School of Law project and those assignments. I want to do a walkthrough of the Module 2 content, saying something very briefly about funding and equitable funding for public schools, mostly direct you to the readings and the PowerPoints. Touch on the discussion in Blackboard on virtuous circles, and also the SCIP, the School Community Involvement Project. Parts C, D, and E are due this semester. So I want to go back and ask you to reflect a little bit about your SCIP Parts A and B that needs assessment to see what you might have identified for a need for increasing community and school involvement. So on the course overview page, very important, if you haven't already done this, I think most of you have, the enrollment verification activity is due and needs to be done. Back to the overview of the Blackboard page. In the MELS information, scrolling right down from top to bottom from the overview, I have loaded something new here in the sample evidences. I noticed that the evidence 3C was missing in this sample evidence, which is a pretty good one. So I have uploaded a student sample here that I think is exemplary. I would ask, because I have not redacted her name or the school's name, that you not share this with anyone, but use it perhaps as a way to think about the SCIP if that's confusing to you. In the discussion board, we will spend some time again thinking a little bit about, not up yet, Module 2 discussion about virtuous circle, and in the MELS content, the Module 2 content, again, some time here about the how to brief a case, the cost-benefit analysis, and the PowerPoints that are overviews of a couple of the chapters assigned for this week. So where to begin? Here in the content, how to brief a case. 10% of your grade in MELS 603 is going to be on a presentation and a brief for a school law case. Well, this very brief article, 2 pages or so, describes how to write a brief for a case. School law students have to brief cases. You'll find now that if you Google a particular case, you're going to find all kinds of briefs. So while cutting and pasting and putting together a one-page brief is acceptable, you'll see something quite like that in this Grudinger versus Bollinger example. I want you to become a bit of a mini expert in your Supreme Court case. Which one? Well, here they're all listed for you. There are 11 or 12 landmark Supreme Court cases involving students and schools that I think every student of school law should know. So here they are, and again, these are kind of briefs of the case, but a little bit about them so that you know something about all of these cases. Then in the assignment, because I am assigning them to you very arbitrarily, alphabetically, for the semester, again, you're to take one of these 12 cases, research the case, prepare a one-page brief and a presentation, a Prezi, a PowerPoint. I'm going to load a couple of PowerPoints as well as a video, I hope. Some students have really done a great job with this in the past. A PowerPoint or a Prezi is really acceptable. So again, arbitrarily A through W, I assign the cases Brown through Adler to you. So that's your case. Here is a post-by date that I ask you to try to stick to the court cases. Are some of them in chronological order, but along with your case, I ask that you pose a question when you post it in the discussion for others to respond to, so that we'll each learn something about these 12 landmark cases and have an opportunity to respond to you, the expert on that case. Again, the Grudinger and Bollinger sample case brief is here just to as an example. The topics for week 2, again, are kind of big picture about funding for school. The chapters assigned in volume 1 and 2 are going to be in the introduction and announcement for this week, but check out the PowerPoint summaries. These have been updated. They do align with the content of the text and provide an overview of adequate funding and funding for public schools. In particular, in this PowerPoint, check out the current expenditures, which has been updated, and national expenditures for the last several years, so you get an idea of the trend. So please do check out the PowerPoints as well as read that course content. There are 2 PowerPoints here that align with the two of the several chapters that you're assigned to read this week. The cost-benefit analysis is another 2-page handout that I think may bring the notion of school finance down to a level that you can perhaps understand and apply when it comes to your leadership of a school. If you want to have a new program, very often these days you have to make a business case. And if making a business case for 4 additional days in the school year or for new computer equipment, how do you figure out some of the intangibles in terms of the payback? So think about the cost-benefit analysis, and that's part of the big picture view of funding for schools, I think. So get yourself out of the classroom and start to think like a principal or a superintendent, and cost-benefit analysis is the way you'll start to see the world. That's a little bit about what's due this week. Thinking a little bit longer term, again, let me talk at you about the skip, about the one of the things that you must do this semester is, again, to complete the skip, the Stakeholder and Community Involvement Project, parts C, D, and E. Here is, again, a sample skip that has been loaded for you in the needs assessment. You should be identifying something that needs to be done for your school to improve community relations or communication. So reflect on your skip A and B. What was it that you said that you wanted to improve? You want to increase the number of PTA members or the parents coming out for an open house? Do you want to improve the Friday folders or the Blackboard pages of teachers to improve communication between home and school? And then, for the purpose of this course, again, C, the skip C is about resources. So that does align pretty well with our course content here. What has to happen in order for the skip to be accomplished? What kinds of resources do you need? Wrong evidence. Apologize. Check out Lisa's version, and again, please don't share this with others. Lisa Thompson was a student in Raleigh. Leroy Martin is a school in Raleigh. This is real, and I did not redact this so that you could have an example to look at. But in terms of resources, Lisa did a good job identifying the people and the things, the monies and resources necessary for the stakeholder community involvement plan to be accomplished. So check out Lisa's if you need an example for that. D is a marketing plan. Well, maybe your school already has a marketing plan, but if you don't, if you have identified a need, how are you going to communicate that need to folks? So there's the resources necessary and a marketing plan. So part E will be your reflection on this whole process, what you've learned and how you've grown as a result of completing your stakeholder community involvement project. And again, I'm going to ask that you complete and submit all three of those: stakeholder and community involvement plan, part C, resources, D, marketing plan, and E, reflections, as one piece on October 5th. So in a month. And so that's something to start thinking about. Pull out your skip A and B, review them, start to think about the resources necessary, and let's start sharing ideas or asking questions about what that means, about what the skip C ought to look like for resource identification. But there's a sample for you, and if that's a help, I hope. I hope that you remember that in the MELS information is also the handbook, and if you need to check out the rubrics or the explanation for the skip, please do that. And when you are submitting things in Blackboard for me to grade as part of this course, I will allow 2 attempts. Get to this and see. Course assignments is where you'll submit this C, D, and E, and I don't think it says so here, but I will allow 2 attempts. So I'm grading these on a 1, 2, 3, 4 scale, just like they are in TaskStream. You don't want a 1 or 2. You want to make a 3, a proficient, or 4, an exemplary. When I grade your stuff in Blackboard, so when you submit your skip CDE to me, I will either say this is proficient, please upload it into TaskStream for comments and evaluation, or I'll send it back to you and say it's not proficient in my estimation because, and tell you what you need to do to fix it. So I'll allow 2 attempts in Blackboard for these artifact pieces. And usually what you want is proficient and to move on to TaskStream. So that's the course assignments. That's a little bit about week 2. I'm going to cut it off there and say thank you very much for tuning in, for completing your projects and your discussions on time, and look forward to another weekly announcement and video from me. Thanks.